the meeting of the Historic Commission, 7:05. And if we can start with a roll call. And then once we've actually opened this meeting, then we'll go straight to open to continue the public hearing from our last meeting. Okay, whenever you're ready. Anybody?
Kathy Schofield here.
Dan Beyer.
Okay, Janice, thank you. Daniel. Okay, the meeting is open at 7:05, and we will commence immediately with the continuation of the public hearing for properties to be reviewed for removal from the historic inventory list, January 16th. Thank you. This was fabulous. That was very good. So we know what we're looking at and what we're talking about. And we will, once the public hearing is closed, we will then continue with our regular business.
Which is the other public hearing.
Excuse me?
Which is the second public hearing.
Which is the second public hearing. We're going to do that. Should we? The first public hearing is, do you want to do the continuation of the
I would do the two continuations since both of those people are here.
And then we can start the new ones. Yeah.
Thinking.
Okay, that works. Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
So as far as continuation is concerned, the first property that we had was 80 Uxbridge Road. And Kathy's done more work on this. This is 80 Uxbridge Road, Ed and Patricia Shea. The property was built 1940. And we had that the house was not historical. At the last meeting, I believe the question that we had was we wanted to do more research on that because it was something about boatyards or something.
Yeah, the canoe club.
Canoe club, okay.
Boathouses, which I did eventually find the deed for.
Yep.
I still have not been able to pull them into the 20th century or 21st century. So we'll
really?
find it. It'll turn up.
Okay, but as it stands right now with this particular property, it was completely torn down to the foundation. It was rebuilt. Is there anything that anybody says said it's limited? The property was renovated and updated in full by a local construction company. Limited architectural details remain. Deeds suggest it was built circa 1925. So is this?
Oh, no, I think you have the wrong one.
80 Uxbridge Road, no? Oh, I'm sorry, that's Millville.
That is correct.
That's my brain. It's my brain, excuse me.
In 2003, the house was completely gutted and completely redone in 2003. Nothing remains from the original structure at all, except for the CMU block foundation.
Right, that's right. So,
just a little side note that the second parcel in that piece was sold off, and the building was constructed in 1950, so it's very consistent with your sister building.
right, okay. So do we have any reason to keep this on the inventory, or?
No,
No?
I believe it's fine to remove it from the
Fine to remove
inventory.
it. Dan?
That's fine with me. So we addressed the question from last time. So
We addressed it, yeah.
Doesn't
Okay,
appear
so
to
the
be any-
research was done, there's
other
nothing
than, I mean,
there.
it meets the standard for age, but beyond that, it
Right.
doesn't seem to have any other worthy.
Janice, do you have any problem with removing it?
No, I don't.
Okay, I don't either.
So I'll make an official motion
Please.
to remove 80 Uxbridge Road from the historic inventory list. And thank you again for giving us a little extra time to do the research.
No problem.
Okay, can I have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, motion carried. 80 Uxbridge Road will be removed from the 2023 Historic Resource
Do a
Inventory
roll
Review.
call. Do you want to
Oh,
do?
do we need to do a complete roll call?
Yeah,
Oh,
might
yeah,
as
I think
well.
we probably do. Dan?
Hi.
Janice?
Yep.
Kathy?
Yes.
Lynn?
So
Motion carried.
just to confirm, because I was saying to Lynn, I'm going to put the comments in up front. So the commission has no objection to removal. It did not meet the standard of the age. Is there anything else you want to note on our letter?
Yeah.
I'm going to leave that. Okay.
Okay.
So then you got 38 Cape is the other one. right?
Yep, I got that one.
Where is the other email?
Okay, so 38 Cape Road. Thank you for
Hello
the.
again.
Hello. Thank you for all the extra work that you did, that you sent
Sure.
through to us. We went through it. I mean, there wasn't really, no real shockers in there. The extra work that we got from, I think, the Historical Commission was just, it was built 1890, typical of the original residences along Cape Road. This area of Mendon was well-travelled and consisted of farmland and small mills. Several of the original settlers resided in this part of town. Property is believed to be part of the original land grant of Jotham Haywood. Centre Chimney Cape is similar in style to the Jotham Haywood homestead, located at 7 Bates Street. These properties were modest in size and lacked ornamentation, but represented the essence of the farms they worked into the 20th century. Comments?
I will say what's sort of interesting, having now heard that, is that that's sort of contrary to some of what we found, which was that, or maybe it's consistent with what we found, which is that there was an effort in later years to make the structure more elaborate. There was an elaborate entry that was constructed. It
Yep.
appears now that it's been removed again.
Yes.
There were dormers that were added on because those didn't exist before.
Right.
So
Yeah, and that was very typical of what was done with a lot of these houses because of, you know, we've said so many times, this was a little tiny farming village, basically. So people had very modest houses. They had modest incomes. They were farmers. They were mill workers. And then obviously as time went by and people got more money, they did tend to elaborate on things. And that's where it gets tricky because, you know, we've got houses that were built in, you know, 1800s that all of a sudden people have added, as you say, put dormers on, put extensions on the back. All of a sudden there's, you know, $50,000 kitchens in there, and that's just what happens in these little tiny places. So,
and this one hasn't been renovated nearly to that extent.
We might be guessing.
It's actually
Yeah.
in much
Yeah.
poorer condition than that. But it was interesting that we found that there's an erroneous reference in Macris to this property address because it references the homestead of one Johnson, I think it was. And of course,
Yes.
Johnson was the owner of the adjacent property, shown separately from the property of Bicknell. Johnson's in the chain of title to 34 Cape Road, which is a different property.
Yep.
My client, Mr. Pettinelli, who's on Zoom, tells me that there was a change in the numbering along the roadway. You'd know better than I would.
and a lot of, again,
The numbers are all wonky over
numbers
there.
mean nothing. I spent the longest time trying to find number 20 Misco Hill Road or number 18. And I found 16 and I found 20 and where's 18? And when I went to the assessors, I went to, well, you know, that wasn't really the numbers. They were just given numbers for the post. And
Yeah, the problem is we don't use map block lot the way other places do. And so there's a tax parcel address, which might be very different than the mailing address.
Yeah.
Then you find out that they didn't have, it was like, you know, rural route, whatever. So it's, you know, then you have these records that's just so-and-so's house and you're like,
Right.
great.
yeah, that's the other problem when you're talking
You know,
about
yeah.
a certain number and say, oh yeah, that's this name's house. And can we
So
talk
there's-
numbers?
There's a lot of,
Whoever
so
these people
we
are.
try to use the tax parcel, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of weird confusion that
Yeah,
makes
it
it really
does.
hard to
It-
research.
It does get very confusing. And like you said, the problem with that at the end of the day, we're now talking 2023. Oh, and it was a long time ago. So, and all of these systems too, Macris and all of these, they were input by just someone sitting in an office going, oh yeah. And
When you pull up the Form Bs, they're on a typewriter. Some of them are handwritten, right?
Yep,
It's stapled
yep.
photographs. different
A
world.
long
It
time
is.
ago.
So what was the, so any other comments on this one? Kathy?
No, I mean, I think, we would agree that the ornamentation is about consistent with all of the other properties along that area. And that, as much as we would like to have saved, some of the properties along Cape Road, that we do know that it's, commercially, it's being developed commercially.
Yeah.
So I think based on that, I don't believe that keeping it on the historic inventory is beneficial.
No. I mean, I kind of agree with you there, especially as, things have been changed with it. I was going to ask you, Dan, with the properties that are actually removed from the inventory, but still, they meet criteria, because obviously age is the biggest one that these are going to meet. Is there any way or anything we can do to suggest to the owner that, yeah, we'll remove it from the inventory, but in the event that you sell the property or that you want to demolish the property, that we can actually get an opportunity to photograph it to keep in with the records, or can we not do that?
I mean, verbally, certainly. I mean, I think I would have that, I mean, it sounds like, I think the owner is here. That might be the time to have that conversation now.
Yeah.
I think we have to pay attention to what's going on. There's no legal obligation for them to notify us.
No.
No.
Well, no, I get that, but when it is an historic home, that obviously.
You know what you might work is sending a letter to properties that have been removed with that sentiment, just saying,
Oh,
yeah,
that's an
listen,
idea.
this decision was made, but, we do recognize it is still an old house, and we'd ask you to
Yeah,
at
that's a
least,
good idea.
help us document it should you
Yeah, and they
ultimately
can also
decide to.
send photographs to us,
Pull it.
If I can say, just if I'm not overstepping, my firm and I represent a number of municipalities, and so I've represented historical commissions like yours. And one thing I did on behalf of one of my communities, its historic commission wanted to be sure that they had a photographic history, and they recognized that many of these properties didn't have significant enough value to
Right.
require them to be saved or preferably preserved or even on their inventory. But they, rather than waiting until such time as the property sold or was demolished, they actually sent letters out, and they acquired funds to do it, but they sent letters out and they sent somebody around, a staff member, to take photographs now.
Oh, that's a great
That
idea.
would be an even better idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
think,
that's probably an allowable CPA expense too, to potentially hire
Yeah.
somebody to
Yeah,
And then
document.
we can actually, we've got that information there, so we're not, if someone's under the stress of maybe selling or demolishing or whatever, we're not going to come back in and they're going to be, hey, you said to me that we could do this. It would be nice, like you say, if we actually did that now. So maybe a second letter to everybody who is actually being removed, if it is one of the older
Yeah,
houses.
yeah.
I mean, something that's like 1950, people are going to, or like the previous property where there's nothing left.
Well,
you know.
in 200 years, that
In 50
1950s
years,
property.
it's going to be even more,
Wow.
right. I think that's a great idea, doing it now.
Thank you for your suggestion.
Yeah. Okay. So, Janice, do you have any other comments?
Nope.
Okay, Dan?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I mean, it's an old house, but it sounds like it doesn't really meet any of the other criteria that
No,
would
but
warrant us.
Right, but it's pretty,
No.
and if we can photograph it at least,
Hmm.
I think that, we'll build up
Yeah.
the library that way.
Yeah, and it's nice to see some of the older photographs of that property in
As
front
well,
of,
right,
some of the
Right. Okay,
updated ones.
so can I have a motion, please?
Yes, I will move to remove 38 Cape Road from the historic inventory list.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I need a roll call. Janice?
Yep.
Dan?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion is carried. 38 Cape Road will be removed from the inventory list.
All right, thanks
Thank
for
you.
your
Thank you
time.
very much.
I do just want to mention, so I'm also the clerk for the water board, separate from this. You should just, and your client should be advised, if they plan to do anything other than residential on that property, they need to come talk to the water commission.
Okay.
There's a lot of complicated restrictions on allowing the reuse of connections. It's a whole disaster with our contracts with Hopedale. Just before anything goes, make sure that what you're proposing can be done, because basically right now we're not allowed to reuse connections for commercial reuse.
Converting residential to
Right.
commercial, you mean?
Which may change. We're in the middle of a big study and a whole project.
Okay.
I just would hate, it's happened a few times, I'd hate somebody to come up with plans and then find out they can't do what they want.
Okay, well, that's fair.
Yeah.
My understanding is that my client has no immediate plans to do
Yeah.
anything, but I'll certainly make him aware if he decides to
And-
vet that process.
Honestly, he probably knows more because I think they've been there a long time with the history of this water system, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks for coming out in the
Okay.
cold.
Maybe we should also just consider that other one, 73 Uxbridge, as a continuance that we skipped.
Yeah, but I don't know if we have any information on that one, do we, Kathy?
What is it?
Let me look at my
73
list.
Uxbridge. Last time that we had the meeting, we actually unfortunately skipped over it. That was the one we were about to discuss, and then we stopped and we went to everybody in the audience because there was no one here for it.
Yes.
So accidentally, that one got skipped.
So we dialed back on that later in the evening. I rewatched the video.
Did we? That's what I couldn't,
Did we?
Yeah.
it's,
did.
are you sure it was that one and not a different one?
I have it written down in my notes as well, that we decided to keep it on the inventory, and that if it becomes an issue later on, that we will address it then.
Okay, so let me just note that, because that was the one, I mailed out all the letters, and that was the one I couldn't find our discussion. So it's 1940, meets the standard by age, and the commission. Oh, because property meets the standard by age, it's one of the few remain, it's on the lake, right?
No, it's actually across the street. It's on the old road.
So what was our
Hello?
We
decision?
call it Old
Oh.
Uxbridge Road.
Hello, I'm 65 Uxbridge Road.
Okay, we'll get to that one.
Oh, okay.
So sorry, what was our comments for this?
On 73.
73.
That we would keep it on the list. And then we will address it at a later date if it comes back to our attention.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, just so I can,
And I have them marked as not in attendance on the
correct.
meeting notes, so.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, I had that. It was not in, not attendance or on the phone that I wasn't.
So then that means we can move over to the,
Yeah,
New
so
hearing.
before we do anything, we need to close this public hearing. Or, yeah, close this particular public hearing. So can I have a motion to close it, please?
so moved.
Janice?
Second?
Okay, so I need to do a roll call again, right? Kathy?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Janice?
Yes.
Aye. Lynn? Aye, okay. That continuation is closed. So now we get to do all that again, and we're going to open the public hearing at 7:24. For the second set of properties. Do you want to go through these in order, or should we handle it for the people that are here?
I think you have 1, 2, 3 people here for 3 properties, so
Yeah, so why don't we cover them
if you want to pick one of
first?
them first. The
I have
lady
three
on the
people-
phone, the lady on the phone is here for the Uxbridge Road property. They're here for 80, and I believe you're here for Milford Street,
Okay.
so flip a coin.
So forget the other three?
Well, let's do them later.
Yeah, that's what I was,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just
Okay.
saying, pick one of those 3.
All right. So 80,
I would suggest I think 80 is a quick discussion.
80 Millville Road? You want to just come forward or?
So 80 Millville, I sent you all, there's a whole bunch of confusion. It sounds like, depending on how you want to define historic, that this property does not meet the standard for age, but according to the assessor's records, we use the date in her system.
Was this, is this?
One that's been allegedly completely rebuilt from the
House
ground
is
up.
the
completely
foundation? Because that's what I've been finding with some of these, is
It's the stone foundation's there, but
Right.
the whole top of it was capped with concrete, so
Right.
as far as I'm concerned, that's not historical.
unfortunately, that goes in the assessors. And we just have to work off their figures, but I get what you're saying, and I agree, but.
So, yeah, I mean, it's 1925 otherwise. So, I mean, unless somebody knows something else that I don't, I see no point in keeping this on the list.
No,
And Jean can follow up if she wants to update her records or how
And I
she,
think maybe in
defines
some
historic.
instances, like the other one, where there is nothing left, maybe a foundation or maybe not. Quick question, you might know or Kathy would know the answer to this. How does that work with the state's list?
So the state, I mean, my understanding is those Macris entries were members of the Historic Commission who filled out those forms and submitted them to the state.
Right.
So that was all local research.
Right.
So if there's an entry in the state, I believe, I have to talk to her. I believe we would submit updated forms to correct them.
Right.
Which is another project we should probably work
Be
on
looking at
as
doing,
as
yeah,
part of
'cause-
this.
Right.
I don't, I mean, unless you found something, I don't think there's anything for this property.
no,
correct?
I don't believe there's a Macris inventory for this
Oh,
property.
okay, all right. Because I
So-
didn't know, I know that was what I was just saying. We'd had an issue before where the foundation was kept. I think it was on Taft or one of those, where the foundation was kept, but they completely rebuilt the house.
Yeah,
And
they
they're being
left one
taxed as a
standing
brand
wall.
new house. And they're living in a brand new house, but the foundation is old. And so in our system, it was saying that it was a historic property like this
Right.
one, and it isn't. But
And I
didn't
think,
know
right, and I
that-
think Jean has her own rules about how, that year, the reason she has this year in the system is probably required because that foundation is still there.
Okay,
That's a Jean question.
right, but it doesn't affect the house,
Right.
so we're not worried about it.
So
Okay.
I don't, I mean, like I said, unless somebody knows something else.
I mean, there are no significant historical architectural features left on the
No.
exterior of the house. I actually do know the gentleman who gutted it and
Yeah, Mike Lowe.
fixed it up, yeah. So, the only other interesting detail that I picked up in the deed search is there was a boot shop located very close or on the property. So I don't know if you've been outside and rummaged around, but you may find a few old boots hanging around.
Or nails.
So keep an eye out for those.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually not, we're here to support the neighbors. It's not our property, but my son did partake with Mike when they revamped the whole thing many years ago.
Oh, neat.
And so we're sort of like, yep, that house is gone and rebuilt.
2002,
Um,
I believe.
Yeah.
We did know a couple former owners of that. There was a senior lady who lived in that home, and at the time that she lived in it, it was sort of fallen down. I forget what her name was.
She used to be the dispatcher for Mendon,
Yeah, she did. She actually dispatched many years ago.
No
right from that
kidding.
house.
Hang on, I'll look it
And
up.
she.
From the house?
Mm.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, many years ago. It was right from the house. And, but it was just, I think,
I wanna say her
one
name was
room.
Ellen?
I mean, you walk in and kind of like the kitchen, and then it was like a big, not big at all, but one room
Yeah.
house,
Well,
a
if there was
fallen apart
a,
house.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And then Mike, I think, bought it from her and revamped the whole.
No, these don't go
Yeah.
back far enough.
well, you
It
wonder,
had to be. I mean,
Go to the registry.
it had to be.
There were a lot of homes, that, are very similar. I don't know if you're on Providence Road, the little red building on
Yep,
the, on
down here on the
the
left.
turn. There, somebody lived in that as well.
Yeah.
Somebody was living in there, and
Things.
in the museum was also a house.
I mean, it's kind of fun to find out that it was a boot shop, because that I certainly did not know. And
Yeah.
that's very interesting. I don't know if they're on Zoom or, I don't know what's going on, because they texted me to see. Are you here?
Hello? Hello?
yeah, no, we're just discussing 80 Millville Street. We'll be right with you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting too, when you do drive round and you see a few of these little tiny, like sheds.
Mhm.
And then you find like the only cook shop and you see these little, what were stores, they were working shops. And that's probably what all people have, is they had the shop and then they had the little property with just a bedroom and a kitchen probably. Not
Very
much
simple
else.
times that we should.
Yeah,
all
I
go
know,
back
right?
to,
Don't we need to go
That we
back?
should go back to. How's Karen? Your cat?
Oh,
cat?
she is great.
home now?
Oh, she's home,
Okay, because we
yes.
haven't seen her for a while, so I
Oh,
just
my
wanted to
God,
make sure.
isn't that a riot? Yeah, no, she actually has been staying home. I'm
That's
so
cold now, so
thrilled.
she'll
Yeah.
like it, yeah, okay.
So she's getting reacclimated to being like a house cat, but every day she goes out and sits on the porch, on the chair and just
Something
takes in all
probably
the.
scared the bejeebus out of her. Said, I'm not going out anymore.
Honestly,
No,
well,
she comes to our barn. Sometimes she scares the bejeebus out of me.
she loves your barn. I'm sure she's going to resume her,
Yeah,
gallivanting.
no, Nikki was asking me, she said, have you seen Karen? Like, no, but I'll ask her tonight.
Oh, she's very well. Make sure she knows. It's all good.
All right, so
Okay, so shall we, can I have a motion for 80 Millville Road?
Yep, I will move to remove 80 Millville from the historic inventory list.
Second, please.
Second.
Okay. Okay, roll call. Janice?
Yes.
Dan?
Aye.
Kathy, aye.
Lynn, aye. Okay. Motion unanimous, carried. 80 Millville will be removed from the historic inventory.
just to clarify, they don't need any more paperwork filed with the state or anything.
Dan
They-
will,
they-
No, they'll get a letter
They'll get a
eventually.
letter automatically, once we've done all these tonight, they'll get a letter and they'll just say that it's been removed. And then we'll probably, well, I don't know.
I mean, unless they plan on tearing the house down and applying for a demo permit, it really won't,
No.
you're not going to come across this anytime soon, so
No, it's quite nice.
it'll just get,
Actually, it's
it'll get
nice
taken off
Yeah. It
the
really
ones
is
that are flagged, which
beautiful.
I still haven't even finished yet, so there's
Yeah, he
hundreds
did
of them.
a great job on that. And then they only had, I think, some minor things that, that was a long time ago that when they first revamped. That was several years ago. I forget the
Yeah.
exact-
2002, I believe.
Yeah.
But he did a great job. And then when Mike was there for a little while, he had that nice porch out the back. Nice sunroom. It's a nice sunroom porch.
Love.
Did you see it? Yeah.
Yeah. Every time I drive by.
Too bad the lot wasn't level, because it's all
Well, it was very nice
hillside.
Yeah.
to see you guys. Thank you.
Nice to see you
You're
as well.
welcome.
Thank you for
Okay.
coming in.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. It's
Oh,
That beach
you're
club
very
is
welcome.
Have you been by? It's like,
Join us
oh yeah,
anytime.
he's
That'd be nice.
he's doing a, yeah.
Oh.
I think he, I hadn't, it's
Get
been
out
so
from
wet, he
underneath
was trying to get the
quilt to come-
blocks.
It's so cold in
That's the
my
next
house.
step.
The blocks are there.
Ooh.
Oh, did he? I haven't been by this week.
Because Aaron Hawks' boyfriend Adam picked him up with his big truck and trailer. Friday, I think they came.
So they're donating all the pavers and they're selling us the blocks at cost. It's like unbelievable,
They
yeah.
do a lot. They do a lot of stuff like that for town.
Yeah. He was at the car show. It's that
Yeah.
Dave that,
Yeah,
Pete
he
knows.
was helping Pete Cook.
yeah,
He's a real good friend.
that's awesome, yeah.
All right, oh, man, come on, I got other people waiting.
All
Good night,
right.
everybody.
Good night.
Okay, and the lady on the line is 62 Uxbridge Road? Or
Which Uxbridge Road were you?
65.
65?
The one that says 65 Uxbridge Road off, just because that's
Right.
what was in the system.
So it's actually not on Uxbridge Road, it's off
It's,
Uxbridge Road?
I'd have to look at a map. Hang on, I wouldn't read too much into that.
So this is also it's across the street from Nipmuc Lake. If you look, you know how the houses are raised on that side and there is a road that
yeah.
goes up? So it is set right in that, I think it's might be the first house.
Oh, it's the ones that are up that weird
Yes.
street.
And I think they
It's
call
a
it
dirt,
Old, Uxbridge
It's a
Road?
it's a dirt road, and it goes up a hill. And I'm the fourth house on the right.
Do they call it Old Uxbridge Road?
Right.
Yep.
And I'm right almost opposite the restaurant on the lake. I'm up on the hill.
Okay, I know. Yep.
I think the town owns like a condemned house up there too.
Right. Yes,
Do you
they do.
happen to live in the house?
Yes,
You have a great view.
sometimes. Unfortunately, I have two houses in front of me, so they block the view.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, they built up when they really probably shouldn't have years ago when my mother was here.
Yeah.
So kind of, but I have a clear view in a corner, kind of. Anyway,
Okay, so from what we have here, there is no inventory. This is not included on the map as inventory.
No.
It was in the deed book 1909.
Was part of the original wood
Sprout
properties.
land. That sounds really cool.
What was it? Oh,
It says
Sprout
it's
Land.
referred to as Sprout land.
Yes. You're living on Sprout Land.
What's
what am I living on?
You're living on
What?
Sprout Land.
Sprout land?
Yeah, so originally it was just used to grow sprout.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, there was a lot of old houses around up here when I was a child, and some of them have been changed over the years, but one
So
or two haven't been.
Have you been there all of your life?
No, I've been here back and forth because my mother and my grandfather's friends built the house. And then
No.
he didn't like it here, so he never stayed here. So my mother and father, my grandmother, all of us used to come over from Milford in the summer, and we spent summers here. But it's only been me staying here year round for a couple of years.
Yep. Well, you're going to have to come in.
My mother never stayed here for the winter. She went to Florida, so did my father.
That's where they all go.
Yeah, well, I went too. Believe me, I went and stayed with friends in a mobile home park to get away from this place because it's cold up here. It's not insulated. So basically, I call it a wooden tent.
It is quite original.
Right. Kind of. Some work's been done, insulation downstairs, and one closet in the house that was made into a 3/4 bathroom. So I do have a bathroom with a shower.
Wow.
But it's dirt basement. No, it's not luxurious by any means.
But it's a house.
Yeah, but I lived when I was married, I lived in Louisiana, and when I went back to college, I lived in Washington State. So I have lived in other places besides here.
Wow.
But it is what it is right now. I'd love to sell the place, but I saw that the market wasn't what it was a couple of years ago, and I don't want to see the house being torn down. So it's going to be a problem to sell it at this point.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I think it all depends whether or not you find the right person.
Yep.
It would have to be the right person and somebody that was really a handyman.
Yep.
Somebody with a lot of energy. Anyhow, I own the house. My name's on the deed, but it's to be divided with my two sisters. So there's three of us that own the house, basically.
Okay.
Very nice.
But I would have come tonight, but I'm all snowed in up here. I don't know about other people. I've got a long walk. It's slippery. It's the road is kind of scary for me, and I just have a little sporty type car. I'm really not ready for the Mendon Winters.
No,
But-
no.
I would, you can actually do the job without being here. You can do it on the phone. That's perfectly good. Don't worry about it.
I've driven up that road before. It's not something you do easily
Off-road
in the
vehicles,
winter.
right. Yeah.
No, I didn't go out. I didn't go to the family gathering in Holston on Christmas because the road was thick with ice. I've never seen anything like it. But other people
Wow.
were coming up here. They were going to my neighbors, and I thought, there's something wrong with me. Why is this road terrorizing me like this?
Yeah.
We need to
Whatever.
get you a snowmobile.
I need something, yes.
All those boots with the spikes in.
A truck. I need
have
a
a-
truck up here.
That would work.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
wondering, I'm just wondering why you want to remove it from the historical list when you don't want anybody to demolish it.
Well,
And that's the
because
purpose of it.
I don't want it to be another obstacle to selling, if they knew that, if somebody knew that. They might not be planning on demolishing it, but they might not want to have to think, what if they buy it and down the road and they want to fix it up and down the road they want to sell? You know, is that going to be a problem for them? You know, that's why I thought the obstacles are, they're endless. The septic system, the dirt basement, and I've just listened to so many people that are active in construction in Mendon telling me that it's going to be hard to sell. So I guess that's why.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that's very understandable. And you're right, there are a lot of challenges for all those properties around Taft Avenue.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't
So-
realize it. I was renting a little mobile home in Florida, and I said, I better get up there and put the house on the market, you know, get it fixed up. It'll take a couple of years. Well, no, it's going to probably take another 4 or 5 years, which it
Yeah.
won't be me selling it if it's that long. I don't have the energy anymore.
Right.
Have you
But have
called
you seen the
Mass
house? Did you drive up here and see this house?
No, actually, I didn't get a chance to drive up and take a look.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me, have you asked Mass Save to come out and evaluate what you need?
Who? Mass
Mass
Save?
Save.
More
Yeah.
than once. Yeah, no, they won't
No.
do a thing.
What?
No. They won't do anything because they said there's no barrier on the second floor. In other words, there's no attic, so there's no ceiling if they put in insulation. I just had the winterization program come up here, and they ended up giving me appliances that I did not apply for and didn't want. My appliances were fairly new, within 5 or 6 years, and they were fine. But they said they weren't energy efficient. So I'm trying to learn how to use this new washing machine. Believe me, I've called them and I've asked them to please come and take it away. But
Or ask
still
them
here,
to
and
come
I'm
do your laundry, one of the two.
there. Do something for me.
Yeah.
You gave me something I didn't want, and like a fool, I took it. Anyway, the refrigerator works, so I'm not going to complain about that.
No.
I shouldn't complain about anything. Basically, that's what happened. They came, they gave me appliances. They didn't weather strip the windows. They didn't. They gave me light bulbs that I didn't need and didn't want, and off they went. So what I applied for was insulation,
Yeah.
help with insulation. I didn't expect them to pay 100%. You know, just give me a little, what do you call it? Something towards the price.
Yeah.
So
Janice, I'm thinking this might be a good job for Rich.
Who's rich?
Yes, I think you're right.
He's a local
There's lots of
handyman.
jobs up here. If you know somebody that wants a job.
So it sounds like this property it meets the standard for age. It doesn't necessarily meet any other standards.
Yeah.
I would. That's what I was. That's what I was trying to say before in my email that I goofed up.
Worth, unless somebody knows more than me, I don't see
It
any
doesn't
reason to fight
seem
for
to
it to
be
remain on the
anything.
list. If,
Yeah.
if the owner wants it off, I don't think there's any compelling reason in this case to contradict
To
that,
leave it on. That's
Yeah,
good.
because we don't
Thank
have
you.
I
any
agree.
justification.
All right, so can I have a motion?
So moved, unless you want to phrase it differently, Kathy.
Nope.
No. Okay. Second?
Second.
All right, you just confused me there because I had it written down and I had to change it all.
Kathy seconds.
Second. Okay. Janice?
Yes.
Daniel?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Lynn? Aye. Okay. The motion is carried to remove 65 Uxbridge Street, Uxbridge Road
Well,
from the historic inventory.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Maureen, if you ever get stuck, you can get in touch with us. We know a couple of good handymen that could probably
Yeah,
give
that
you a
can maybe
hand.
help you or give you some,
You do?
yeah.
The handymen are worth $1 million. Yeah, okay. That'd be
Great.
great.
Okay.
Thank you. Yep. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, and then 3 Milford. That's the
3
other one, this
Milford?
gentleman here.
Hi.
So this one is 1830 according to the assessors. So Janice, it's 3 Milford.
Okay.
Okay, we have number 3 Milford Street, built in 1830. This property was purchased from Philip Amadon, the owner of the Amadon Tavern, and served as one of the original homes of the Silas Dudley family. Silas was the designer and engineer behind the building on Mendon's Town Hall. He donated the land on which it was built, as well as contributing financially to the construction of the building. The town would later buy him out of his portion of the building. The property is on the National Historic Register as a contributing structure in the Mendon Center Historic District. It's listed as the Dudley House 108 in the Massachusetts Historical Commission Macris Inventory of Cultural Resources for Mendon.
It's loaded.
Does that mean I'm in trouble? I'm the only guy in town in trouble?
No, oh, no. You're not in trouble, not at all. Not at all.
I just really, when I bought the property, I didn't know anything about, being honest with you, anything about this.
Uh-huh.
Recently, I found out, and that's my second time in the town hall in 20 years in Mendon.
Really?
Being honest with you.
Well, you know what? The man who lived in your house built
Built
this.
it, yeah.
And it's almost, I feel like I have no benefit being on this list, totally. And it's almost like the street that I live on, it's the main road, and, I mean, it's, being honest with you, that's the only reason I'm here. I have, you know, like, I feel like there's no reason for me to be on any list or anything, you know. I'm not looking to tear the house down. I love where I'm at. This is, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and make stories and, you know.
Oh, no.
I did you know, the whole house is redone on the inside,
Mhm.
new kitchen, new bathroom, everything, siding. I mean, it's, you guys probably drive by every day. That's all it is.
Right. One of the main, well, there's a couple of things, is that this is actually, we would not be able to remove it from the inventory, basically because it's part of the
No,
Center Historic District.
It's not.
I thought it was.
No, it's part of that old
It's the
state.
National
Well, actually,
Historic
State one.
Register.
you're right. Is it part of the state one? How does that worded?
Yeah, it's on the National Historic
It's on the
Register.
isn't it? I thought said it was in the center. I thought,
Is it?
why wouldn't it be in the center when we went all the way down there?
We just, because it's on Milford Street. I was gonna say, I wish we had included these couple houses, because there's a couple of them that,
Yeah.
at least if it was gonna be
ones, the
taken down, it'd be
neighbors,
nice
we
to see
actually,
something in the same style put up.
staying on.
What is this
I mean,
part of?
In terms of
The
architecture
proposed
and
district.
significance, it is the last of the Silas Dudley properties, with the exception of the building you're in right now. But it also is very closely tied to the Amadon Tavern, which is right around the corner from you, 1725, where George Washington tried to stop in for a bite to eat. So,
And in typical Mendon fashion, they're, no.
so historically, it is too significant for us to not say if it were to be sold. We would ask that, you know, there's some negotiation room there, you know, to try to save the property, whether it be moved or repurposed. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a big black mark on your property in terms of selling it. It's just, historically, it's one of the last buildings that still exists that, was so instrumental in the building of this town.
So
So you happen to pick a really good one.
Yeah.
you are correct. So regardless of our removal from the list, it's still subject to demo delay because it's part of it's on the National Register of Historic Places.
Yeah.
Correct.
So whether it's on the list or not, it doesn't mean anything.
Is it my house or like next door?
No, pretty much every
All of
house
those houses along
over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they kind of serve as a cluster, they work together, you've got a couple of, and they have their own historical significance. They are craftsman bungalows, and we don't have a lot of them in this town. But yeah, that whole area there, if it can be protected, I think the town would benefit from it.
And what that means is that if at any point you decided to sell and sell it to somebody else, it means that if that person wanted to demolish the house or you wanted to demolish the house, you would need a hearing, another public hearing. It doesn't mean to say that it means absolutely no, but what it means is that that house is so important to Mendon that, and it's the same with all the houses that are staying on this inventory, they're all so important to the town that it would require another public hearing before permission was given. And at that point, as Dan said, it would be subject to probably the demolition delay. And we would ask and try and work with the owners if they wanted the land, but not the house, that we could maybe move it or we can do something and work with them. It's not this whole process, people got a little bit kind of, I don't want anybody telling me what to do. That's not what this is about. We have the list of all these homes that are all considered important in the history of the town. And like you've just heard, there's some of these that really, they're old, but there's no real history to it. This property has got a lot of history to it. There's big names flying around in your house.
Could also be a really good selling point, too.
Very good selling point.
Yeah, because
I wish I knew all this coming in. I literally knew nothing until
Right.
3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, when the letter came out to 5.
Yep.
So 5, is that in the same category too?
Yeah.
Is that how it is? Is that?
I'm just,
Yeah, we
so
kept
these are all
5 and
part of it.
Yep.
all-
5, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11,
That's the
13.
only reason, I never knew anything about any of this.
These are all,
Like, why do I want to be on any list if I don't?
Oh,
I get
absolutely,
that.
absolutely.
You don't want to be on a list.
That's-
You're not on a list, your house is. It's got really not,
Yeah,
we're,
yeah, no,
we're
no.
really not bothered with you, but we really, really like your house.
Well, we could get you a nice plaque for that house.
we could get you a very nice plaque
1830,
for
the
it.
Dudley House, Silas Dudley.
And you're part of the, it's, you're not actually in the center district, but you are contributing property to the whole of that center district, which is like really, really important to the town.
Yeah, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here to, like I said. I'm
No,
not here
but it's also, it is scary when all of a sudden someone says, oh, you're going to be on a list. And you don't really necessarily want to be. And like I said, we like you. I'm sure you're a very nice person, but we don't care about you. We care about your house.
Oh, we do care about
We
you.
do care
That's
about
wrong.
you, but we care more about your house, I should have said.
And it's a beautiful
It's
property.
beautiful. It's a beautiful
You have an
house.
incredible view out the back of your
Yeah.
house, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, for the time being, I would say you're a winner.
All right.
All right. Well, thank
We'd
you
like to
so
keep-
much for coming in. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
All right. Have a good night.
Thanks, you as well.
is
We
there,
need to vote on that? We probably do, right?
I mean, I think, yeah, and I think the vote unfortunately is that it, or.
Actually,
that
we
it-
don't need to vote on it because if
We're only voting to make changes.
to make changes,
So
right,
it's on
yeah.
the list. I
No,
mean,
we're
unfortunately,
good.
regardless
Thank
of
you
our,
very
vote, because it's part of the National Register, is there a database somewhere of all these? That
Yes.
somehow, because I'm thinking that other one that came up before, 69 Milford, is part of this too. We should just, I'll have to look a little closer at this. Oh, here we go, database.
What is it about those little houses along that strip that the people are so nice that live there?
I don't know, but we're so
Really
lucky.
nice
We are
people.
so lucky.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Yeah.
01756.
very nice. Okay, so
So-
do we have anybody else? Oh, we don't have anybody else online.
Nope, yeah, so if I'm reading this correctly, Mendon Center District listed in 2003, does that sound correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I believe, oh, it's on the wrong side of the road. That may include like a lot of those houses. I'll have to work on that
Okay.
and identify them more accurately because we need to identify them by property.
We should share some more information with him about
His house.
his
I think that
house.
would be
Yeah.
really awesome. And the other gentleman who lived along there in the bungalow.
Gagliano.
Remember when we said how
Oh,
beautiful his
yeah.
house is?
Oh, yeah.
I think it would be really nice to give them a reason. I mean, he gets it.
Yeah.
He gets
Yeah.
it that, you know, we love the house. We really, that would be heartbreaking to see any of those go.
That's why we
Well,
have
so
to start getting.
What's going
plaques.
on with the, I mean, I know we talked about us versus the society with the plaques. Because this came up a little bit with the historic district, and I think there is a value to like making sure that every single house in the district has a plaque on it,
Right.
just for our
Yeah.
own protection. Maybe we should think about perhaps doing a set number per year that we can fit within our budget,
Right.
that are just
We've got
funded.
money.
You know, where they're,
Can't we do that?
I mean, how much are they per sign?
They're about 75.
Yeah.
Like if we made a list of everything in the existing districts and these national registers and just went through and found the ones that are missing,
And
It'd be
even,
really
yeah,
nice
and
to
even the people-
award these to these houses.
I think-
Yeah,
you
I
know.
think even the people that, you know, have, I mean, obviously there's a lot of people that wanted to leave their property on there. They probably maybe already have a plaque. But for the people that wanted it removed, but they're older properties, I think that that would be a really nice thing to say to them, would you like a plaque for your house?
I mean, I
Right,
think,
right.
and you would know this, you know, what I've seen, those plaques are are a benefit to us because they trigger the real estate agent to go, wait a minute, something's up
Absolutely.
with this property.
Yep.
Because we've got a lot of questions about like, isn't my house for this and this? It's like, well, no, it just has a plaque on it because it's old.
Right.
But I think it
Yeah.
started that conversation.
I was going to
So it'd be
say,
a worthy investment, I think.
you know, one of the things that I had talked about quite a while ago was how we can get this information out to realtors. That, I mean, other than doing a mass mailing to every single realtor, because, you know, I mean, people in Mendon can sell their house and the person's coming from here, there and everywhere. But we can't obviously, and it's not our intention at all, to stop anybody
Yeah.
doing that. The problem is that, as I see it, is if somebody sells a house and doesn't tell them that they're on this inventory, what do we do then?
It's not a problem. It's a town bylaw. Basically, what this is, among other things, is it's a town bylaw that selectively applies to a list of properties. The inventory happens to be that list. So, you know, if you, I mean,
So if you're selling your house and you don't actually tell the buyer that it's on the list,
that's between the two of them. I mean, I think if you're the buyer, it's your job to do due diligence. You look at zoning, you look at the bylaws in the town.
it is, but it would make it a lot easier for the.
You know, if you're buying a house as a tear
It would make it a
down.
lot easier.
I mean, that's what I just said to that gentleman, because we've gone through this like 5 times with these people. If you're going to spend millions of dollars on a property, you might want to engage somebody to do the research to make sure you can develop it the way you want. Or you're likely to spend an awful lot of money on a vacant lot of land.
Right.
But I think those plaques would go a long way because
I think they
there's
would
something
too.
about them, they clue people in.
And you know, and the other thing is really, when you think about it, we are asking them to like preserve their property and put up a plaque so that people driving through see it. I think it's only right that, we should pay for it.
Oh, I
We're putting
agree.
money in CPA, we should, let's use it for the
Right,
intention.
exactly.
Okay, so,
It's meaningful
So
to,
there's three
so
more.
we have these other properties, 155 Hartford Ave East, 62 Uxbridge Road, 29 Providence Street.
That's it.
um,
That's it.
That's it.
And then, I mean,
And
and
then the Taft,
then we have to talk about 53 Taft. We
do
can't,
we want to talk about that now before we close the public hearing?
so these three are part of this public hearing.
Right, but the Taft one is not. We can talk about
Try
that
it later. I mean, or
Okay.
at the end, yeah.
Okay, so having done that, the three other properties that we have
So,
will remain on the inventory.
well, I think just
At
real,
least the 2023 inventory.
the three properties that so 65 Uxbridge Road is going to be removed.
Yep.
80 Millville is going to be removed. 3 Milford is remaining.
Yes.
And then these other three we got to go through.
The other three, why,
Well, so just, I think we should just talk about them.
why don't they just stay on? I thought that was what we had said.
Yeah, I
If-
mean,
If no one, they've said that they want to take them off, but they weren't actually here to present that information or called in or gave us any other information.
that's fine. I just figured we should go through each one and talk about it for 30 seconds so it's on video that we discussed. So I think, 29 Uxbridge Road or 29 Providence Street, the gentleman who applied is no longer the owner. I would argue that the new owners have made no effort to contact us. They did receive the letters because they're the new owner. So I would say leave it
When
alone.
did it sell, do you know? I didn't even think it was
I'd have to go look.
sold yet. I didn't think that one had closed.
I think I think he emailed everybody. He said, oh, I'm no longer the owner.
But I think it's contingent. I don't think it's actually sold yet.
I mean, again, I don't think it's anything special, but barring any compelling reason to remove it from the list, it seems to meet the standard by age, so I don't see any reason to remove it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
yeah, we
Just,
leave it on.
Just because I think that we can document on the letter to them and say, absent any compelling info.
Right.
And I
yeah.
believe, let me just double check, I believe all they originally said was, we want it gone, right?
Yeah.
Not significant to any events. Well, it's from 1940. I do not believe it makes it significant, but that's all we know. So, yeah. Unless, it's not a Macris. 155 Hartford Ave East. The only thing about that one is it is in a commercial zone. So if we put the decision off tonight, it'll probably come back to us. It is one of those weird properties that can't have water for commercial use.
Oh, 155 Hartford Ave East?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds like from Kathy's research, it's
Yeah.
of nominal
Which one is
interest.
it, the red
It
one
was
or the other
definitely
one?
not built in 1960.
I think it's the
yellow
red
one
one.
to the left.
It's the red one. Yeah, I thought, I knew that was a little bit.
Because
off.
it's, who was the, it's Kurz, right?
Yes,
And yeah,
yep. So, with respect to
I don't know.
155, 153, I mean, there is a group of those buildings that all kind of support each other. And they're kind of the last of the 1940s structures on Hartford Ave East.
Yep.
So I would suggest, I mean, it definitely has some architectural style that could be craftsman, as Kurz's
I think it's Kurz.
property.
Okay.
So they definitely have unique architectural features, and I would leave it on,
Okay.
or me.
I don't have a problem with that. Janice, what do
One
you think
second.
about that?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to Janice. That's perfect.
So 155 meets the standard for age and has some potential architectural interest
Yeah,
and place. Just because I'm putting the reasons on the things. So age, place, architecture. Okay. And then the last one is 62,
Right.
which is on the water. This is the woman that kept emailing us, and I don't know, I've tried calling her, it just went right, it just rang and rang. I sent her all the info. I was hoping she was going to be here tonight, because I think she sent, if you saw her email, she sent a whole bunch of info. I mean, it barely meets the standard by age.
I know it's on the water, but
Deed search.
it doesn't really, it's not on Macris, 1945. No strong architectural style, there's nothing else that we know about it, really. I mean, it looks at some point as if it was more like a little cottage.
That's, yeah, I mean, that's the only question. We've kind of taken the stance that these remain, quote, few remaining cottages in the lake, we want to be kept on the list just to ensure that we have a little more,
Leeway, yeah.
just
I
knowing what's
agree.
going on.
Yeah, I think we should leave it.
So I don't know if this one also
Okay.
is of a similar nature. I just might be prepared to have this one come up again.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I
What'd she
agree.
say?
And I mean, we did say kind of that if
Oh, no,
people
that's a
didn't
different one.
respond, that it would remain.
62.
I mean, if somebody feels strongly that with these particular three properties, someone feels really, really strongly that they want it removed, then it's a year.
Right,
Are
right,
you planning on selling it within the year?
right. I mean, yeah. I would agree with you 100%. Let's
Okay.
just keep it as is.
All right, so we have leave for those three.
Thank you. My home is a find of blah, 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 blah. I'm just reading your email to see if there's anything we missed. It's nothing like the original built.
So, Shelley,
I guess I just want to document because I think we're going to have pushback, a specific reason for leaving that one on the list. So I know exactly what to put in the
Well-
letter. Not that I'm not saying I disagree with you. I agree.
Well, I was going to say, Dan. if
To put it
there's
gently, I don't wanna hear
If
it.
there's specific pushback, this was the opportunity.
right,
I mean,
and
we've had
it
two
came out
opportunities.
twice,
Yeah.
right.
We've had two opportunities, so,
So it meets the standard for age.
yeah.
It's one of the remaining cottages in the lake.
Mhm.
Felt should remain on list at this time.
At this time, and if in a year's time, they still feel
Yeah.
really, really strongly, then,
Yeah, I just want to document so when we send the letter, it's not just saying yes or no. It provides a little bit of context because I think, like I say, I mean, I don't know if you saw the emails. I'd rather head as much off as we can as possible, so at
Well,
least we can talk about the actual issues, not just confusion and
yeah.
That's all,
No,
but-
I agree.
so. All right,
I don't have I don't have a problem with it either way, but I think being on the lake the way it is, there are certain, I mean, we lost those other little cottages.
We're going to
Now there's
lose
gonna be-
more
You see now that
cottages.
there's a property up there, going to be up there, I guess? Single-family home?
Where is that?
You know the cottages that Mr. Pinto took down? On Nipmuc?
Okay.
well, because there's no benefit. I mean, this is what there's all this discussion on Facebook. Without town water and sewer, there's just no benefit to building any commercial because your money's in residential right now out here.
Right.
But it's a shame. And
And
then
if
so
you think about the location of that, the view would be beautiful.
The view is better.
It was better before, but.
Before it
it's-
was
yeah, I know.
leveled.
I
Yeah.
know.
How
So let's
tragic.
just say, if we are done with this, let's
Well, the only-
close this
just
public hearing.
real
then-
quick, because I think we're on the
So-
same subject. I think, so 53 Taft will either have to get pushed to February or maybe she's willing to just wait till next year, like you said, if it's not
But
critical.
we have to make that decision now, don't we?
Wait a minute.
But it's a 1910 house that's on the lake. To me, it sounds like it meets the same kind of criteria, that it's one of the old cottages that I would have to really hear a compelling argument as to why it should be taken off the list.
Wait a minute, are we dialing back to the original batch?
This one
No.
may have never even made it there. Her application was in Viewpoint, and I don't know if it actually even, because it didn't get on the initial hearing. We skipped it entirely.
So why are we addressing it now?
Because, well, we're not. She applied, so if we're going to be people of our words, I think we owe them a hearing like everybody else. We can't just say we lost your form.
Right, but do we owe her a hearing right now?
Oh, no, I just figured while we were talking about the lake,
Sure.
just to get a feeling of because I think we can't make a decision on it tonight But I think if we have I can follow up with her and say, listen, this is what we know about it. So if you really want to do this, we'll hold it in February. But if you maybe just think it's not worth the time.
I think that's going to set a really bad precedent.
I think so
We'll be
too.
scrambling.
Well, she's welcome to apply like anybody else. We're
Yeah,
not
but you
giving
know
any
what?
special treatment.
But Dan, I know what's going to happen with that. You're going to have 15 people or more all of a sudden say, well, I put my application in, well, we didn't receive it. Well, that's not my fault. You didn't receive
Right, but
it.
hers was received. It was stamped. We
Hers
responded to
was,
her.
But I mean,
Everybody else can wait till the
I
next
think
round,
that-
which,
Did she get a letter to come tonight?
no, it's not on the agenda tonight. I'm just bringing it up to say, I think the right thing to do would be to schedule this for our February meeting and post the hearing and go through everything. Because she did apply, we did respond to her, it just got missed. So I don't think, I did send her a message and she may follow up and say, you know what, just do it next year. I don't know. I just figured I would briefly mention it. It sounds like it's of the same stock, so I was perhaps going to have a conversation with the person to say,
I would maybe ask if she would be, just tell her
No.
that we are not scheduling any more reviews until next year. Is she okay with that? And then if it turns out to be a major issue,
yeah, we have some time. I sent her a thing. We'll see if she gets back to me. It's St. Ange. I don't know if you know her.
Oh, yeah.
you.
They're,
Yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
Jill-
yeah, their older son went to school with me.
and the Katie was the little girl.
Yeah, I
I
don't-
think Ally went to school with her.
Okay, yeah. So it
Right.
just, and again, unless you're planning on tearing down your house tomorrow, it doesn't matter. And if you are, you apply for demo delay, it's the same thing.
Right.
Right, I mean, yeah,
not like we're,
6 of one, half dozen of
you know,
the other. at
So,
that
all right.
point.
Well,
So
yeah,
I'll see what
I
she
mean, I
says
think-
and let you know.
Yeah, okay, and if we do have to do it in February, then we have to do it, but, I mean, ideally, I would like this all to be done so that we can we've got that master list, and
Right, when
we can give a copy to the planning board, and we can give a copy to Ellen and anybody else that we,
had suggested, I think, if we can also pick a tentative date for this process again next year, because I want to update the website so there's a deadline. So if that's, perhaps January of '24,
Daniel, I'm booking into like next week, that's it.
we're just in our annual meeting, we could just say the next annual review hearing will be at our meeting in January of '24. The deadline for applications is December 1st, or whatever we pick.
Yeah, well, why don't we can do that, definitely, and say that the deadline for applications would be December. So, look.
Because I think I sent you what I did. So now if you go online to apply, it's going to tell you to pick one. It's an immediate hearing and you pay the fee, or you're on the annual hearing, which will be X date.
I mean, are we going to, I will admit to being very confused over the dates of our meetings, whether we are the third Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, because every time we set a date and we do really well and we have 2 meetings, somebody comes along and says, oh, no, we want to go back to planning board, oh, the select.
Well, so, yeah.
What are we doing?
So let's close the hearing and let's
All right.
get out of that. Just
All right,
for,
so,
not that it matters, but
all right,
just to be.
so can I have a motion to close?
Wait a minute, do we want to make a motion to remove those last 3?
We did.
I think we vote them individually. So we're removing 65, 80, and 3. No, we're removing 65 and removing 80.
Yes.
We're keeping 3.
We're keeping
And we're
3.
keeping the other 3,
keeping the
29,
other
62, and
three, yes.
155, because they meet the minimum standard and there's no further information.
Yep,
So we're removing 65 and 80.
Right.
yes,
As well as previously 80 and 38.
and keeping 3. And then, and then leaving,
Yeah, I do not understand why they did not extend the historic district to encompass a few of those houses on Milford Street. Probably because they felt it would be a big fight over a
Oh,
commercial.
yeah.
well,
I
you
am
know, the
sure of
problem
it.
was.
But
when
those are
we-
really important houses.
But when we looked at it, they wanted to maintain the triangle.
Mm.
And we were kind of, initially, it was going to be, well, let's do that first part of North Ave as well.
Yeah.
And then it was, well, wait a minute, with all the issues that there are on that corner. I mean, what happens now if we have, like, these houses are on our inventory and they do not have kind of protection or whatever? What's going to happen when they change those lights? Are they going to take all that land away?
According to the plans I saw, they're taking very little land because they own most of what they need already.
Okay,
They can't touch the park because of all the BS that it's not worth it to them.
good.
And I
I
think
was worried
they're,
about that.
I
Are
think
they
they're
going to do
gonna,
the other side? Take some of the
you have to go
other
look at the
side?
plans. I think if they're taking land, it's on a matter of a couple feet.
Okay,
But in most cases, they were pretty smart and kept the layouts of what they needed. I mean, there's a pretty big shoulder.
yeah,
Um,
okay. All right, so then we have that. Can we have a motion to close?
So moved.
Second?
Kathy?
All right, and do we need a roll call as well, or do we just?
I mean, I think it's abundantly clear that the four of us, how we're voting. I think it needs to be documented as a roll call technically because we're hybrid. You're supposed to take a
All right,
roll call
I will
vote,
be. Janice,
but
you good to close
Yep.
the hearing?
Yep.
Okay,
I think
perfect.
Kathy, I.
Dan, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious.
so-
You know,
and I'm
it'd be
aye.
different if
Okay.
you had 100 people or people
Yeah.
remote, and you didn't know who was speaking.
Right, okay, we're good with that.
All right, so what were we saying now?
Okay, so let's just have a look at the meeting.
Oh, the
As
dates.
we're going to continue on this
So
for
the-
a second.
We need, I mean, I think for some reason, the planning board, they want to start meeting at 6 and they wanted to switch to the first and I know why, because he wants to start meeting at 6, but Barry can't do 6 o'clock on one of the nights. So then he said, why don't we do the first and the third Monday instead of the second and fourth? So we could then switch to one of those Mondays. We could meet the same night, just go next door. I just think we want to keep
Was
that
that,
night
was
free.
that because, Dan, though, was that because of the medical procedure?
No, that was him just saying he couldn't be here for a specific night. But when I talked to Bill, he wants to change their meeting night. I mean, big picture, I think there really needs to be some conversation and direction from the top that the expectation is that these boards set, because it's happening with Concom and ZBA. There's no reason to have conflicting meetings, but how would they know? They're volunteer board members, they don't work here.
Well, and
There's
the
no
other problem
feedback.
is for everybody, unless you do what I do now, is I used to sign up for specific agendas from specific
Yeah.
boards. And now I'm doing all of them because you just never know. I mean, I would be, okay, planning was on a Monday night. Okay, that works really well. And then we were the other night. And now it's like and then the select board wanted Monday night. So,
So where do we stand? Is
well,
it
we had that,
second
was it
Monday of
Ellen
every
that
month?
sent out that note?
Yeah, but Ellen
Laura
has,
saying that they wanted to know what nights we met. And we set it up, that it was the third Monday, and now
right,
it's,
well, this classic, that's what I was saying, it's classic leadership in this town. We come up with an idea and it goes nowhere and we forget all about it
all
tomorrow.
right. So, should it be something that we put on the select board agenda?
I think from this board, I think I wouldn't get all, I guess, I think we're wasting our time picking it. I mean, I think it should be brought up by citizens. I think trying to go to the select board and saying we had this night first is a waste of everyone's time.
I'm saying I'm not arguing
Yeah.
that it's from the board, but I'm saying we would like clarification from each board. I mean, we can't just go to each board. The select board will be the people that do it, no?
No, I think,
No,
I think there should be a memo sent from the top saying there's an expectation that every single board pick a regular meeting night and stick to it, and that big, important boards avoid conflicts. So if you're the ZBA chair and you have to continue a meeting, you can't just continue it. You need to
Right.
know that Concom is on these 2 Thursdays.
Right.
And that has to come from the leadership that I
And I
hate
think
to say
it's
it.
very confusing for people in the
lacking.
town who grow to
Well,
expect that
yeah,
I
because
Right.
look at those people
deserve
that
that
missed
time.
the ZBA meeting because the ZBA was right and one of the planning, somebody else, they were complaining that.
Well, it's if you're not familiar, they're very similar. It's very confusing.
Yeah,
I mean, I think, there's some boards that I think can kind of do whatever and can kind of float around. Like I would argue that our board, it's nice that we have a regular night and especially when we have hearings.
right.
It's not the end of the world that historic is not consistent
It's not, but
versus
it's
planning.
very, very difficult to plan your life.
Oh.
When all of a sudden it's kind of, well, we've got to have another meeting in 2 weeks and we can't do it on that night, we can't do it on here, and we're fitting it in. We need to know, and I'm really against additional meetings. If I want to do something and someone says to me, well, we meet on the third Monday of every month, that's when I've got to go, not, oh, well, can we please make a special meeting and change everything? Because it's not fair to your family, it's not fair. I mean, I do a lot of work at night. Well, we don't talk about when you work, because that's like 24/7, and he's 24/7 too.
Yeah, don't point to me.
So, and Janice.
I mean,
So, you
yeah,
know,
I mean, I think it's worth bringing up. I don't know if it's worth mentioning one-on-one to people to say, hey, can we try and push this again? But there needs to be some sort of guidance from the select board.
Should we maybe just drop a note in Ellen's ear?
I think she
Because the
feels
last-
like it's not her job to enforce. It's her job to stamp what's
So-
sent to her and post it.
Why don't we
Oh, okay.
email Kim and Laura and the select board? Well, Laura, that goes to the select.
I would,
board.
something like this, I would send to that BOS address that goes to everyone,
Yeah,
because I think it's very easy for things to just get ignored when they just get sent to,
Yeah.
one person versus the whole group.
that we're just having a tough time scheduling
Just say,
regular meetings and
nice
that
to
we-
see some clarity
people
on
expect us to be.
policy, and they're like I said, so now Concom and ZBA are meeting. Next door, while it works, it's not great. You don't have all these mics. Concom could have a ton of people in attendance because it's another one of those giant hearings. ZBA's got their own stuff going on. There's just no reason for, first of all, there's no reason for big boards to overlap outside of an emergency.
Yeah.
Planning, Concom, ZBA, Board of Health,
Right,
Select
right.
Board, any of these,
and
like
you're
if we have a
also-
hearing, it would be very wrong of us to do a hearing that conflicted,
Right. I
But
agree.
then we schedule a hearing and we get a note saying that there's another meeting coming in that maybe we want to attend as well, and we can't because
Right.
there are too many conflicts on it.
that was, it seemed like we were on a really good track during COVID.
Yeah.
And then I think, and especially because we only had one space with the technology. And honestly, the problem here is you have boards with either non-existent or part-time staff or staff who are brand new to the town, members of the board who are only involved in that one board and don't really understand that there's a bigger, and nobody's facilitating that.
But it would make it a lot easier for new people on the board if they are told, we meet the first and third Monday of every month. That would be good for them to know. They can work
Yeah.
around that.
Right.
But if all of a sudden it's, well, we were the first and third, but, Barry can't do it at 6, so then we've got to switch it to the second and fourth, and Lynn can't do it on the second and fourth, so we're actually going to do it.
The impression I got is this is a
Ireland.
permanent switch now. That was the impression I got, that this is a change, and going forward, this will be their plan. And I assume they'll, unlike the select board who did it for a week and then said, oh, never mind.
Right.
So then we
Well,
just ask
and-
for confirmation.
There are 5 people on the select board now that they have to kind of work around, but that's their problem. They made the commitment to the select board. Somebody should pick the date and they have to be there.
Well, it seems like they've been on Wednesdays. It'd be nice to see them and Board of Health work together so they could alternate. And then I think if I was ZBA, which I will say, so we hired a new planner. So she's going to take over, she's going to shadow Jack for like the next year to get trained.
Oh, yeah?
But she's going to take over ZBA because Ellen stepped back from the ZBA clerk because it was just a stipend and it wasn't worth it. So I think, but it's a brand new person. So hopefully somebody could push them, because to me, that's the board that needs to pick a regular date.
So why?
We meet
is
this day of the
Jack
month.
Leaving.
So he was out of retirement.
Yeah.
They basically posted this planner job and begged and somehow found him. So he agreed. It's all funded through a state grant. He basically came out of retirement with the understanding that we were then going to hire somebody and train them. So that's taken them about another year, and they finally found this, Dylan is her name. I forget her whole background. She's got an IT background. So now she's going to shadow him between Mendon, Uxbridge, and Millville for like the next year and basically learn on the job.
And the problem is that you can shadow somebody
So-
and you've got your own book knowledge, but you can't replace the experience that he has.
No, but you never,
Excuse me,
you were never going to.
somebody with an IT background. So how do you become a planner if that's your?
I have to ask her what her rest of her resume. I will say,
Yeah.
she's amazing. Don't get the
Yeah,
wrong
yeah, yeah.
impression.
No,
She's
I'm
a
sure she
huge
is, but I'm
asset to the.
frightened.
Yeah, I don't know the full why she made this pivot, or why. I know so she worked for Viewpoint's competitor, so I believe it's IT and municipal adjacent.
Okay.
So I think she does actually have quite a bit of experience in some of this stuff. But yeah, that's a good question. I don't know her full resume. I will say it's, it's going to be nice having somebody else over there who can help with
Yeah,
permitting and getting more things online. Because, I mean, even, Jack's great, but even Jack's not the most tech savvy.
yeah.
Sorry, Jack, if you're watching. Anyway, so I think because I think that's the board that seems to be the wild card, and it always has been. They just pick a random night to hold and they're these big public hearings that get advertised, and they can't be flexible. And I mean, we don't need to get into it now. I think they have some issues too that hopefully will get worked on. You know what? Complain to Tom.
Keep talking.
They appointed Tom as the third member to ZBA.
Oh, they did?
Call up Mr. Maroli and and tell him that
All
ZBA's
right.
got to get their stuff together.
I do that. I want to be nice. I don't want to be yelling at anybody.
No, you want to yell at Tom.
Well, no, I think he would be a good one to bring it up at that board and say, hey,
And Tom would probably be one of those people that does want a set night.
right. Well, the problem is they were always Thursdays and it never mattered. But now that we have this space, it matters. I mean, really, it's worked great for water. You don't have to worry about it. This is your meeting night.
Yeah.
And actually, it's worked great for historic, both of them. Parks were kind of all over the place. I tried to pick a day and it never quite worked out. But we've actually been meeting during the day now because they're both
It's great
retired.
when you can do that. 'Cause
So unless we have to meet with leagues, we just do a daytime meeting. And I think that's what, I think Cultural's been doing the same, and I think that the Friends do like a noon. But, I don't know.
Yeah, no, there are a lot of perks to being able to meet during the daytime. Then you don't get all tangled up at night. And
I mean, I think, this has made a huge difference. Absolutely.
no complaints from me, that's
So.
for sure. No complaints from Janice. Is she even listening?
I'm surprised you came after they ended up making that other meeting remote at the last minute. And you don't even think of it. And then he's like, well, wait a minute, we should just do this.
Right.
We did all our interviews like this. There were 100, or was it, like 70 people on that planning board meeting the other night. So if that means people can, somebody was saying, if you can just bring it up from home.
Right.
That means you
right.
pay attention to what's going on. It's worth every penny.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, having the remote access.
Oh, yeah. Yep,
Hybrids.
huge.
So Deb texted me back, said that she probably would prefer if district sticks to Mondays, they'd probably prefer the fourth Monday. And if we stick to Mondays, the only day I can never do is Wednesdays, and I have a lot of conflicts on Tuesdays. I mean, if Mondays are working, I would say we could just do the first or the fourth if that works for others.
When are the planning board doing second and third?
Planning board is now going to do first and third. No. Yes, first and third. And
So
we could do second or fourth.
they're doing first and third.
They were 2 and 4.
And so you want to do so you would prefer to do they're going to do what? Deb's doing 6 o'clock?
What we've done
And
was
we run afterwards?
we were doing 6 and 7, which usually works unless one board has to have a hearing.
Right.
Knock on wood, district really hasn't had anything going on. And then it was nice because you could just do a combined meeting, but we don't have to. I was saying Deb said she would prefer the fourth Monday. I think on that board, I think Ruth has a Tuesday conflict.
Yeah, she does.
And then I think, I don't know about Jane. Mark hasn't been there in a while. I think he works a lot at night. So, yeah, I don't know. But I guess just for this board, if we just wanted to try that.
If we did the 4th Monday,
Right. What did I say? We need to talk
in
about.
February, so that would be February 27th. I'm going to sneeze, I know it.
Why did this just scroll up to the planning board wants first and third, so second and fourth? I mean, I don't think,
Every time I cough, I sneeze. Why is that?
I would say,
I hate
you know,
when that happens.
first, second, third, fourth. I would probably push it to the fourth versus the second, but I don't know. There's not too much going on other than ongoing projects and We do need to do an annual report,
Yeah, I've got that down to do. I will have that done. I've got minutes.
and then we got to talk
I've got
about
two
some other
sets of
stuff.
minutes and I've got the annual report. Both, they will all be done by tomorrow because I started all of them. And then I went, ooh, 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 and then I had a little visitor, so I couldn't do
I
anything.
saw.
Because she wants to sit and play on my computer.
Like my cats.
Hmm?
Like my cats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty
Walk,
similar,
walk, walk,
actually.
walk, walk,
Yeah.
walk, walk, walk. Great.
Oh, you know, the funny thing is, she gets on, Mark's got his work computer, and she sits there and she goes and she starts doing things, and Mark goes, oh my God, what's she done? I've never seen that screen before. Say, don't let a 2-year-old play with your laptop.
Oh,
It's
God.
like, where's your brain?
She needs her own.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. No.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
All right.
No laptops.
So let's move on with what else we had to do.
Do we
So should we leave the minutes till next time? Because I unfortunately didn't have
Yeah,
a chance
I
to
mean,
read them, so
didn't, you
we'll
could
do minutes
post them.
for next time. Is that okay with you, Dan?
Yeah, no, I don't care.
Dan, you can
Oh, I-
post them, we'll
I
just
wouldn't waste
post them
my
as unapproved.
Time until we approve them unless somebody's looking.
All right.
It just double the work. for no
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah. So at the next meeting, we will have all minutes up to date. I will do that other thing though, that report, and I'll send it round because it was surprising because I had to go through the minutes to find out what we've
Yeah,
been
yeah,
doing.
yeah, I know.
Well, I'll send, do you want me to send you a
You'd be
list of,
surprised the amount of stuff that we have got through.
I know.
I'll email you all the actual demo things that we from Viewpoint, just so you can cross-reference.
Perfect.
And make sure you didn't, because that's what I do for district, and make sure we didn't miss any.
Yeah, that would be good if you could. I mean,
That's
I've
helpful
put
to
that in there,
see.
the work that we did and
Yeah.
what happened with it. But I didn't put like any detail.
Well, I think it's good to, so in district, I've been documenting every single thing that comes before us, just because I think that's good to have a record of, here's the 7 things that we voted on.
Right, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
And I think as we've struggled
Well,
with
I
demo
have all of
delay,
that, like,
it's helpful to have that history, so we don't
yeah,
have to
different things.
go. So I don't know, do we want to pick a date though, or the
For-
13th or 27th
Of,
February?
Let's do the 27th.
Friday,
I mean,
what's this for, Friday? Oh,
Monday,
that's January.
yeah.
Oh my God, see I have got a brain fart going on.
All right, we'll let it go.
I'm away 2 weeks today. At this time, I will be probably almost boarding. And I'm going to be gone.
Do you really feel the need to rub that in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, listen, I've got my husband, 3 daughters, and a 2-year-old, and a 90-year-old mother. Do you think I'm going to need to come back for a rest?
Yeah, probably.
I think so too. All right, well, why don't we try for Monday, the 13th? Does that sound good? Janice, can you make Monday, the 13th for a next meeting?
Yep.
And then do we want to stick to that second Tuesday?
I can do
Monday?
2nd or 4th, whatever you want to do.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so as long as she answers me in the next couple days, if we have to do that hearing on the 13th, we can do it, but
Yeah,
otherwise,
yeah, we'll figure it.
No
All right,
rush.
7 PM for the next meeting. All right,
The 13th.
on Monday, the 13th, yes. I do have some news, Kathy. I have had 2 structural engineers
Shut up.
leave me messages today.
Shut up. I heard nothing.
Right, well, I didn't call all of those others, but what I did do was went on to that list of all the structural engineers
Yes.
that go in and see it. And I've got 2. One is Birdie, and the other one is a gentleman,
Did you say
I-
Birdie?
Birdie,
Birdie.
Berdi, I believe that's what it was.
and this is for the record room?
Yeah.
This is for the record room, yes. I gotta find the page, just like. And if we can get like,
Do you want to schedule a site visit?
well, they contacted me through email, and obviously today was a holiday, so I
Yeah.
thought, well, I'll wait. I was going to call them tomorrow and actually, and just explain what it is and see if they're interested more. And I also left a message for that home inspector.
Great.
And he's like a busy guy, but I think he'll be pretty good at like coming back too. So then hopefully we, I think once we get somebody, we can then, if they can't do it, we can pick their brains to find out who possibly could.
Right.
And
agreed.
hopefully we'll have somebody like by the end of this week that we can do something with.
And hopefully by tomorrow I'll start to hear from people.
Yeah.
Everybody's asleep.
Did we talk to anybody about the windows as well, or just the record room?
At the moment, it's finding somebody that knows what they're doing. And then if they can do the records room, we
okay,
can do the
mention the other
windows
one.
too.
Because I haven't had a chance. I was hoping to have a meeting with Kim about some other stuff. I was going to ask her if there was any, because it sounds like they awarded Dan Gardner to do the main stuff, but I don't know if she's made any progress on the back. I think she's probably running into the same issue we have. I think she found somebody, but she needs like an actual proposal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Birdie Consulting is one. And they actually have, looks like they've got very good reviews. And the other company is Adam Tedonio.
Do you know where these guys are out of?
So I don't know where they're either out of, but they do work locally. Because when I looked on their review, see, Adam has a number that was New York, but he's done a lot of work in Massachusetts, the Brimfield area, down on the coast, different areas around. And Birdie have got people like in Medway and different things. So they've done local work. But I don't, I mean, like, as you know, I actually put in there and said, we want someone who's got experience with the grant and working and restoration and everything. So, I mean, hopefully, yes. If not, it's just going to be a matter of sitting there and just saying, do you know anybody? Give me the number. Do you know anybody? Give me the number until we find somebody.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, I did call Uxbridge Historical quite a while ago, and I sent them an email. But it's really weird because you leave a message with the town and they don't call you back. And with the historical commission there, I got nowhere. They didn't know, the lady didn't call me back at
I
all.
might have an email for them somewhere.
I mean, I got it off the town website.
Yeah.
So, I mean, other than actually going in there and trying to find something.
Yeah.
But if not, then I think it may be one of those things that, if I've got time tomorrow, which hopefully I will, if I do, maybe I'll also give like people like Hopkinton Historical, because they've done a lot of restoration work, and other
They
towns that
have.
have done restoration work.
Well, I think Medway is one.
You know who else?
Maybe
Medway, yeah.
they do a lot.
I mean, the only problem is that some of those towns have a lot more money than we do. So they may not have to go through the grant system. I mean, it's kind of stupid not to if it's free money, but
Yeah, I just know Medway does a lot of like,
I know Medway
They, like-
did with that house.
they moved a house and I think
That,
they,
I actually
They did
spoke to the
Choate's
lady
Park.
that time about that.
They
The
did
owner of that
Choate's
house.
Park.
They did Choate, yeah. They've done the
their
mill, they've done a
property.
lot of different things,
Yeah.
so. But any of the other, like, local towns that maybe have done something, we keeping you up, Dan?
the other one is
Bedtime?
Mary Bolso
Who?
in Blackstone. She's on
Yeah.
the select board now, but she was, I think she was involved in historic and she was the project manager for this stuff out here.
Right, right.
But maybe she has names.
Okay.
That's a really good
I'll give that
idea.
one a call too then.
Um,
Because, I mean, if they come to us, that's great. But I really would like to try and, like we've said, I mean, geez, we've been working on this forever. It would be really nice to try and get somebody who is experienced locally and with Massachusetts
Yeah.
and with the grant system and the restoration and, you know, let's see what we can do. Maybe we need to do an HGTV TV show. I think they can come in and
It's called This Old
work on the
House.
little town of Mendon. Yes. Okay.
Bob Vila.
So
has
that
not-
is as far as like, we have down here the CPA projects, the old library. Well, we're not doing anything on that, right? Or are we?
No, I think that kind of takeaway was that we just simply don't have the time to,
It's a
Manage
project
that.
that we're not going to forget about, but let's move it. Let's try and clear some of these other ones first.
yeah. And I think that was, I don't know who I think I just left it as a placeholder.
That's fine.
Yeah, and then the books, I have to send an email about the books and stuff, which I will do. I got them back. They're currently in freezer storage,
Yep.
which is also known as my garage. I opened them up, so
It's
there's,
cold now, but who
Yeah,
knows what it's
well,
going to
there's-
be.
there's a couple different things. So those tax books, I think, are worthy of, those seem to be important. The other ones are in the vault. Those, like,
The individual
the
pieces.
gray bound books
Yeah.
of tax records.
They're the
There's
ones that have
two
got
of
the-
them, and
They're the
I
ones that have got a lot of the
Right.
bad mold in.
I documented what they are. Those seem important. There's big black, like they look like bond notes. I kind of get the impression they're just nothing special. And then there's all those bags of all that loose stuff.
A lot of that's correspondence.
Seems, yeah, it looks like it's almost like the contents of somebody's desk that got shoved into a
Yeah.
thing.
So
Yeah.
are those in the vault, the loose
The other,
documents?
everything right now is all, this is all the collection, the mold collection.
Okay.
So there's those books, there's the bond stuff, which I think, might be worth, and then there's all these correspondence. I did briefly just flip through everything. At some point, somebody probably needs to lay them all out and go through one by one. They don't seem to have any mold issues. I kind of get the impression the correct solution there is to put them in some sort of a sealed package and shove them in a corner, and we've got them, we know what they are, but I don't think we need to invest thousands in having them all opened up, flattened, preserved, and
You
fixed.
don't think it's worth opening them up and then scanning them?
It may be. Some of them didn't look like they were they were just miscellaneous correspondence, so I wouldn't prioritize, I would just know we have them if
Do
we
you know
get to
the
them.
age of the correspondence?
It seems to be all, I forget now, 1800s, 1850s, 1880s. I got all excited because it was something about the 13th Amendment. I was like, holy crap. And then I opened it up. It's the 13th Amendment to the state constitution. It's something about taxes. Like I said, somebody should probably sit down and go through each document and, just what's been like downstairs. It's nice because you have an index of what's there.
Yeah.
So I think same deal. You have an index and then you know what's in the thing. But I do think those two books,
Was it only 2 books? I
there's
thought-
2 tax books, I
Okay,
believe, 2
yeah.
or 3. Those we should take some better pictures of, I think, and get some pricing on potentially having them restored, preserved, digitized, confirm that they truly are something that's important, which I think they are. So at
Yeah,
some
I
point
mean,
I'll send that out.
Those are, let me just make sure I understand correctly. Those are all in the vault.
No,
No,
that
they're in-
there's
no,
more in
they're
the vault.
They're in Dan's vault.
They're in Dan's vault.
There's more of
His
them.
freezer.
So for some reason, 2 or 3 of them got left behind. And that's what got moldy.
Oh, there's more of those down there?
There's like 6 or 8 of them in total because they're like, here, I have the pictures. They're like tax lists, 1815 to 1817. And
I think that's important to keep.
I believe they are things we want to keep. And I believe, I'll double check. I believe there's 18 to 31, 02 to 05, 06 to 08, 15 to 17. Oh, so maybe it's the other way. Maybe there's like 1 or 2 more in the vault. And then these are the rest. And then there's these big black things that are like Department of Taxation, Book of Forms for Issuing Town Notes. I mean, again, those strike me as the kind of thing that you just seal them up and you have them versus investing. And then all this correspondence. I think this is Jane's handwriting. Somebody went through and kind of noted what was in each packet. It's like
Oh,
the
yeah,
hand,
it was Jane.
it's like the handwritten annual report that they then sent off to have typeset.
Oh, wow.
So it's stuff like that. It's like working documents mostly, a whole bunch of receipts. So again, it's stuff that's certainly nice to have. I think some of that is probably stuff that should get turned back over to the society. I don't think those need to be in the vault, but we just, so it's, I don't know.
Anything tax related or bond related should probably,
The tax records are important,
Yeah.
and I need to talk to some people to understand what these are.
yeah.
And we reference them often.
Mm.
When you're doing a deed search or you're trying
Yeah.
to like identify a certain piece of a property, like for example, a barn or whatever, generally you would go to the tax record to see what they've been taxed on,
Right.
whether it was cattle or a house or shop.
Yeah.
Well, that would be worth having someone digitize
Yeah.
in terms of a project that could be done.
So
Yeah,
I
that you
mean,
could definitely zip through and take
All
a
of
peek at,
them.
but,
There, I mean, even that is
I
gonna
mean,
be
those
rough.
books are going to cost a lot of money to restore. So that was my question initially about those, is, when the people at the place we took them to, is it Green Dragon?
Green Dragon.
Green Dragon. The people that I spoke to there, when we took them there, she was kind of, well, what are they going to be used for? And I don't really know. I mean, I couldn't answer the question because nobody really could say what value they were, if we needed them, like legally to keep this stuff, if you don't, or is it just going to be, I mean, do we really want to spend, shit ton of money
I mean, I think they're
to get
primary
them done and
records, it
then
sounds
just
like.
put them in the vault,
Well, it sounds like they're primary records.
Mm.
So I think, and it sounds like from, their reference documents, I think there's value in having all that digitized. But again, maybe to your point, it's worth just having the surface mold removed and having them sealed up so they don't contaminate anything else in the vault.
Right.
You know you have
get
them.
worse,
They're
yeah.
not going to necessarily deteriorate. They can be stored with desiccant versus taking, cutting the binding out and opening up every page.
and treating every page and then putting it all back together again. Yeah.
Well, no, I think you'd probably just separate it and have it in like those old town meeting things. You'd mount every page.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right, but I also, to me, I think that threshold is maybe even 20,000. We took in $350,000 just this year or last year in CPA funds. So certainly don't want to spend $100,000 on some books,
No.
but I'm not going to feel bad about spending $5,000 or $6,000 on a valuable purpose.
Oh, no, I agree, but when I was speaking to them
Yeah.
at Green Dragon, they were saying that it was,
Well,
it
yeah,
could be 80,000, and I kind of
Right.
went, ugh,
yeah.
If it's going to be, if it's necessary and it's needed and it's useful and it's going to be used, okay, but if it's not, then.
well, if and when we're trying to get a new group of volunteers over at the museum, and part of what the job offering would be to volunteer would be scanning documents.
Yep.
So
Yeah, 'cause
even
we've
when
got
the
that beautiful
time comes,
scanner.
if we can start, right, or the scanner can be brought here.
Right.
Right, just set it up in a room and,
Right,
a
exactly.
station,
They can
you just
start
come and scan.
Scanning things, but where it's a mold, I don't know. It's tough to say what's safe.
I did some research. I mean, I wore rubber gloves. I wasn't too stressed. It's white mold.
It's white mold, it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah.
Somebody with asthma or health conditions might
And
want to
you know
wear a
what,
mask.
well,
I
it
wouldn't
may
open
be
it up in the
wise-
town vault.
But it may be wise to just wear a mask when you're doing it anyway. But,
No, I'm just thinking about infecting other documents,
Mm-hmm.
if.
No, I think I would handle those separately and then clean the scanner off when you're done
Yeah.
with them.
So maybe if the scanner came here,
Right.
could work in one of the rooms downstairs in the
Yeah.
basement and do the
somewhere that,
scanning work. there.
at night, whatever, you can
Yeah,
not have to worry about it. Yeah, okay. Sounds good.
It's in at some point I'll send an email to a bunch I took some pictures so we can go through and what everything is.
great.
Don't start charging us
So-
rent, Dan.
I've just been trying to get caught up.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so the next one, continued discussion on cemeteries. That's what now I feel that we can do a bit more work on these.
Yeah. Is Janice with us?
Looks like she is.
Hello.
Hello.
I
So
was wondering if you
cemeteries.
had any- I was wondering if you had any money for somebody to come in and do the seminar. I have a beginning outline for what content.
Okay. Did you, did the list on the cemeteries, did you send it to Janice too?
No, Janice. So in getting ready for the master plan, I had to go back and find all of the deeds associated with the cemeteries, and it really, all I did was pick up where Dan left off, because he's already got several of them posted on the town website. So I found a whole bunch of information so that we can sort through all the different cemeteries, and you can have all that background information about them and how they're accessible, who the ownership is. It's like all the basic information to get started. So I want to make sure that you get all that information.
Okay,
Because-
thank you.
Because on there as well, Janice, there are like some of these cemeteries that are owned, or they're private, but, you know, maybe some of them that are actually owned by the town that other people have been taking care of. They're people that we can talk to immediately about, you know, being a steward for that cemetery. So that if we can get those people straight away, that would cut down certainly the number that we have to do, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I would just,
Yeah, but I think we need to offer some education.
I would just stay away from, I'm sorry. Yeah,
To offer specifications for what?
How to do it, and what to be aware of.
So
What
I
is
have
the role
all,
of the cemetery steward?
yep, so I have all that information. I'm not sure if I have it electronically, but I can scan what the Mencucci sent us. And we can add that to, you know, kind of an instructional booklet.
Right. So you're talking about giving them a booklet and not having like a seminar to teach.
Oh, no, I would definitely do
I
a
think though-
seminar.
I think the priority
And
though is to
that's
get names.
Right. Well, now
then we
that there's a newspaper, I think we could ask to maybe have an article in there.
Yes.
Oh, I agree, yeah. I think that would be great to start advertising that we're going to be, you know, coming back in the spring.
I mean, we just, you know, I mean, Janice was at the meeting. We just had a meeting with Ann about a bunch of trail stewards about a project that Ann's trying to do. And so I think that would be, you know, really cool to have a list of, you know, 10 people you could pull and say, hey, you know, we want to talk about X. What are your ideas on how to handle it? I would say though, we need to take Swandale and Quaker off the list of anything we put out. Just, I mean, be very careful. They are very touchy about any insinuation that,
Oh, yeah.
I've run afoul accidentally a few times. Just be clear that that's, you know, nothing, they're wonderful.
I have been scolded.
And also, if you have, at some point, I want to get all these documents digitized, everything cemetery related. So if we have
in
deeds,
fact, it's all.
so if it's all over there?
I've got like all of these files on my laptop and I will send them to you.
Yeah, anything you have electronically already, send it to me.
I've got,
Some I have already,
yeah,
and then I know there's more downstairs. But that's just, you know, just get, because
Do
I'm
you think at some point?
building a
we should-
website to have it all so we can
right,
upload
right.
it.
I saw,
do
I
you think at some
started with
point we
what
should
you
have like
had.
a sub-commission, like a cemetery commission? This is a big job.
Oh,
I actually think the town of Mendon should establish a cemetery commission,
Yeah, I agree.
even if it's potentially just appointed. However, we can't even get people to join this commission, so
Right.
I think you potentially get, you know, or that one, maybe people will jump on it because they say, ooh, shiny, and think cemeteries are cool, but you know, I don't know.
Right. I think we can grow that out of these workshops that a lot of people
Yeah.
are starting to, you know, get interested in this.
I just, if we could have if you could have a list of a couple names next to each cemetery of just, even if they're just people that that think they're interested, that, you know, that need more information, they need to understand what we're going to ask them to do. Just having those resources, I think, would move this a little bit forward.
Right.
You know,
A
to
lot
say
of
like, oh,
times-
you know, this cemetery is so-and-so. So when we start talking about it, we'll call them up and say, hey, this is what we want to talk
Well, what
about.
we need to do is, and I think this is what Janice was referring to as well, and that Janice has been working on really well. Pat on the back there, Janice, you did a great job.
Yes.
Is we need to have a meeting and put it out there for, we want to take care of our cemeteries. There's a lot of movement in cleaning stones, repairing stones. Now we're at the point where we want to document all of our cemeteries, and we are looking for people who may be interested in learning to clean the stones or repair the stones, who are maybe also interested in, light maintenance of the cemeteries, or at least working with parks to make sure that the cemeteries are maintained. And if they're interested, come to a meeting. And at that point, we can sit and talk to them at that meeting. And I think it would be a good idea to maybe do it here. We could go down, we have photographs that we took at the Mancucci's
Right. Workshop
that they did. So there's nothing to stop us kind of putting like a little PowerPoint presentation together and then seeing from there who is interested. And then, Janice has got it written down, what a steward would be, what a steward would entail.
Yeah.
If you want to work in a big cemetery, in a small cemetery, and it wouldn't hurt to include Swandale in that as if they are looking for any help.
Yeah, I would just have that conversation with Ruth and Peg first.
Have
That's
the
all.
conversation with them and say, this is what we're doing. We don't want to exclude you. We would love to include you. And if you would like some help from other people, they would obviously be reporting to you as the stewards of the, and,
Yeah.
I think that, so that we're all on the same page, because if we're talking about town cemeteries, whether they're private or not, they should all be included.
Yeah.
So I think that that might be a good idea. I think, like Janice said, we have we got this new little paper. We could put something in there.
The Free Press.
The
yeah.
Free Press.
Comes out once a month, so you have to get your ducks in a row to get.
Have they responded to you? Because they sent something to Ellen. She sent it to several of us. I sent the lady back an email, never heard any more.
I didn't get anything.
Ellen submitted an article, it never got printed. I mean, granted, they're brand new, but
Yeah.
I don't know if you actually got any more information, because that's the first I've heard.
No, I
haven't
just, what
heard
I got in the
anything.
mail.
I just got it in the mail, but there's going to be something in there, some way we can contact them.
Oh, yeah.
Do you,
Janice,
But
if you are going to be the point of contact, how do you want people to get in touch with you? Let's say we run an article in the newspaper, or we post something on the bulletin. Do you want people to contact you directly?
or send an email to the Historical Commission, and because we will
Yeah.
get those as well, don't we?
Yeah, except we either
But
need to
is
set
that
Janice up or
additional
forward them.
workload? That's what I'm
Yeah.
worried about, is if we're going to have one point.
I think if we're a town board and we are soliciting contact, that contact needs to go to a .mendonma.gov address, period.
Okay.
Otherwise, there's potential issues. But then, so we either need to set Janice up or forward things, which we can certainly do.
yeah, I have to try and look the information of who I was supposed to contact next to get my email going.
Yep.
Because the first few people I talked to couldn't do it.
All right. You know who can do it?
Morning, right?
No, Rich.
Oh,
No, probably has to call World Band and have them reset her password.
Okay. Well, he can do it with her. So
But yeah,
he's
Schofield
there
would.
like all the time. No.
but
I don't think Richard will be back here after Sunday.
Oh, believe me.
I think if we could put something together, so that thing comes out once a month. I wonder what their deadlines are.
So they do have a website posted finally, so that's new.
Oh, they did get a website up.
It was, I think that, yeah,
That's great.
like there's
Do
a
you know what
link.
it's
There's
called? Is it like Mendon Upton Free Press or something?
At Free Press. Of course, this says Milford Mendon Upton, so maybe, I guess they're not doing a separate one then. Interesting. It has all their info on it. Local town pages out here.
Maybe we can put something together, depending on where their deadline is. If we could put something together and get it in the next one. And, if they're interested.
Or does
Sorry, go
somebody
ahead.
know anyone doing it?
I mean, if you want to do it, that would be great. If you want to contact them and find out when their deadline is, and then,
Sure.
put something together. If you need any help, I'm not going to be here after 2 weeks, but if you want to, put something together, so that we can get people contacting us, when we see the response, then maybe we can put something like a meeting together for, middle to the end of February or March. But bear in mind, I'm not around the first week of March either.
Yeah.
Just letting you know.
Yeah, whatever.
Where are you going?
Sorry?
Where are you going?
I'm going to Exuma.
Where?
Exuma
Exuma my body.
in the Bahamas.
Oh,
Here you go. Published on the second Thursday. Advertising deadline is the Wednesday 8 days prior. So sounds like, tentatively the first of the month is the deadline to make it simple. Plus or minus a few days.
Do you reckon that you could get anything together to meet their deadline maybe by the end of the month, Janice?
yeah, but first I'll call them to see if they're interested.
Yeah, this first one would just be, that we're working on coordinating, just like a little blurb about,
Yeah.
taking care of cemeteries is becoming more and more popular. We had a great, session last year, and we are now in a position where we need help. If you're interested in helping to learn how to clean stones or whatever, and if they want to become a steward, just put together some blurb and then see what you get, and then see if you can, we'll have to, maybe we can contact the Mancuccis and see when, it's weather dependent though, isn't it? We don't want to do anything in March if it's up to 6 feet in snow.
Yeah, it's, they
the
usually
ground's
say
solid.
late April, early May is the best time to start. They don't usually do anything before then.
But what we can do is we can, one of the guys that I follow online does this. I think he's in Philadelphia, somewhere like that. And he goes to different cemeteries and what he does is he cleans all the stones. I don't know, the stones, whether he's very careful about what stones he picks, but they come up absolutely pristine.
I bet.
And once he's got the information, and he uses, I swear that he's been trained the same, because he's got that same
The tripod.
and all the different stones and shows you, what he's doing. But then he, once he's done that, he goes back and he researches who that person was.
Oh, it's really neat.
And that would be so neat to do,
Oh, yeah.
whenever you're cleaning a stone, to actually go back and,
Absolutely.
and that's something that the steward could do. And then we can build up this great big,
Nice inventory of people
of
and-
everything, yeah. Some people are like the historic homes. They're not going to be significant.
No,
They're
I think
just
you
gonna
have
be
to make
regular
that
people,
connection for people.
But we have and all of a sudden that person who isn't significant, has got the little broken stone in the corner, is, the wife of somebody who's very significant. And,
Yeah.
I think it would be
Or
very,
just a
very
good,
cool.
hardworking farmer that,
Mhm. But it
I
would be
think
good
it's
to,
really cool.
good to do that. So, yeah, if you could, Janice, that would be great. And then,
Okay.
once we, I would, like Dan said, if we are actually soliciting help on behalf of the town, I would give them the historical commission, mendhammass.gov, so that it comes through there, and then we can, once we have that, we can filter them all to you. We can put together like a database of people that want to help.
Okay, so can you text me that email address, please?
Which one, the Free Press one?
The Historical Commission one.
Oh, sure.
It's just, yeah, historical@mintonma.gov.
And
Yeah,
and will there be any money to have somebody come and do a lecture or a little conference on being a steward? Do you think we'll have enough money to do that?
to have someone to come in and do it?
Yeah.
I bet we would. What do we have in our budget?
But somebody to come in and tell them how to be a steward, or aren't we
Yeah,
going to determine what they do?
Well, you
Well, I
know
think if
what?
we hire them in, I mean, I think the idea, what we probably end up doing potentially is doing another workshop with the Mancucci's or somebody
That's what we want to do.
and pay
with
another
the
1,000.
stewards, and then they can kind of take it from there, and we supply the product.
Right.
But I'm not sure I understand, who would you want to pay to, you mean give the stewards like a stipend?
No, no, no. I think what she's saying is, go ahead,
Education,
Janice.
so that they know what they're supposed to be looking for and what they're supposed to do, that sort of thing. Obviously, cleaning the stones would be a part of it, but not the whole part. The
Right.
reading I've been doing shows you have to look for this, you have to look for that. I mean, it's like very, there's a lot to it.
I think we're just giving them basic guidance that, you know, if a tree falls down, pick up the phone and call us.
Right.
No, but,
You know, I don't think
there's
we're
also the-
necessarily looking for people to become trained
Yeah, I mean.
and on just, you know, that, because I think you have resources with the town if there's, it's just saying something's wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
think,
then there's the other stuff in terms of documentation. I mean, well, okay, well, there's a lot of stuff I read anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll see if somebody wants to pursue that, then we can dive into that and say, let's organize a workshop on this aspect because there's people interested in it. So
yeah,
I think
Janice-
that is something that'll come up.
I wonder if the Department of Conservation and Recreation, they generally oversee cemeteries. So we might call them and find out if they have somebody that does a workshop on stewardship. Because I know they do land stewards as well. So
Yeah.
the DCR might be a really good avenue. And you know, we can start at the Blackstone Heritage Corridor. Their office is in Whitensville.
Okay,
They might be a great place to start, you know, looking for someone that can teach how to be a steward.
I think one thing we've got to be careful here is that we don't scare people off, because maybe we want to start small. I mean, some of these cemeteries are very small,
Well, with, you know,
but do we want to have somebody, and I mean, at this point, is it just, let's get these cemeteries in better shape? And then, you know, inventory them all and then see what stones, then keep an inventory of what stones and things need to be repaired or cleaned or whatever. I mean, I'm not sure if someone, I mean, I could be totally wrong, but I think if you get someone in here who is used to talking about stewardship of a large cemetery, you might scare people off.
I think like if you look at the Trail Stewards program, there's not, you know, it's just random people who have a passion for the property that abuts their property. Some of them do have some knowledge because they're avid hikers, like that gentleman, Bill, is a mountain biker. So I think they bring things to the table. But I think
Is that
really the biggest thing that they do, is they, you know, they go out, they walk the property and they pick up the phone and say, hey, Ann, a tree came down. What's the next steps? You know, hey, there's, you know, like what just happened, you know, there's all these no trespassing signs. What's going on? And then we dive into it. You know, to me, I think that's step one. And then we go from there if there's a need for more. But I think just somebody paying attention once a day instead of one of us going out there once a year. You know, and then we can say, you know, if you're looking for something to do, go document every single stone or here's a list we have.
I mean.
Reference this list and see what's missing. I mean, I don't know if that requires specialized training versus having eyes and walking around and reading
I mean,
names.
this is not something, again, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I'm thinking that this is something that is ongoing. And
Right.
it should be something that can grow every year. I mean, we're going to have people that leave and then maybe new ones come in or whatever it happens to be. So I think if we start out gently and just say what we want to do and take it one little step at a time. I mean, that paper that you did on, Janice, on stewardship, I thought was fabulous. It really is. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, oh, this is amazing. But maybe what we might need is just one person to train as a steward and then have these other little people that are out there cleaning the stones or walking the cemeteries responsible for each cemetery. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't see these people, like, they're not going to operate machinery. They're not, I mean, it's like the Adopt a Site program where you're going to hand them a reflective vest, tell them, watch out for traffic.
Yeah,
To
we're
me,
gonna
that's
give
the
you-
extent of the
we're gonna
training.
give you a bucket and a,
Yeah, I mean, the cleaning is specialized, and I think we will have to absolutely coordinate the training with regards to the cleaning and the moving,
yeah,
certainly resetting stones, anything where somebody could get hurt. Beyond that, I think it's just observational,
right.
at least right now.
Yeah, and then we can, I mean, once you've got, stones that are visible and you can work on, then you can start to inventory it all. And it would be really, really nice to have what we had talked about before, Janice, where you walk into the cemetery and there is a plaque there that shows you all of the different, gravestones there, like we have down at Olney Cook Shop, where you've got a site with a site plan of who's buried where and all that kind of thing.
That would be, yeah, I mean, but
I mean, that would be great to
that would
be
be a
able to do
huge
that at
labor
the
of-
end. But I think we need to take little steps, because I know me, I'm one of those people that, but yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'm in there, that's great. And then all of a sudden you see the size of the job, and then your helpers disappear, and then you're responsible for doing it all. Let's not scare them away.
Yeah.
But I think definitely, we could use another Mancucci session.
Yeah.
Um,
Everybody could use it.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to potentially identify another cemetery. I mean, to me, that's the prime thing that we want
With a
done.
sign for what the cemetery is and that they are located somewhere in town, because there are a load of people that just love I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I love going into cemeteries wherever I happen to be. And it's so neat when you can go in and you can actually, see the stones or what they are, or if there's anything extraordinary about the
Yeah,
person.
well, that's what I want to work on, and then if we could, even just an entry sign, you can do a QR code.
Yep.
Like I said, so I'll, if you can send me what you have at some point, I mean, I think eventually there's some really cool potential to have interactive maps where
Right.
you can
Yeah.
potentially click on stones and bring up information. We just need to find somebody that can do GIS for us.
Yep.
Um,
But let's,
Yeah.
let's kind of walk a little bit before we take off with this.
But I think,
mean,
I think just
all
having
the
a
work
body
that-
of 10 or 15 people,
Yeah.
no pun
I think all
intended.
the work that Janice has already done
Yeah.
has definitely not gone to waste, because we will definitely need a stewardship program.
Well, I think that what she sent out before, I think is absolutely perfect. And then you're basically just saying, we're going to get a list of people,
Yep.
and they'll choose, or we'll assign them to a cemetery.
Yep.
And maybe initially your duties are just, we're just saying, hey, once every couple weeks, go over there and walk around.
Yep.
That's it. And then that person, because I think what you'll find is someone will have a passion. They'll say, I want to be the steward for Old Town, and then they want to organize something.
Oh, I think definitely.
And I think it will build on its own a little bit.
Yeah. And I definitely think that, if we have some people that are, responsible for the cemetery, and we can do the documentation and everything, anybody coming into town looking for relatives or whatever, we've got that information there that we can give them.
Yeah.
Any of the people's houses that
You
we've
like
been
this?
talking about, we can link in with that. Did you know that the people that lived in your house are actually buried in the cemetery up the street, whatever it happens to be? The possibilities for this are endless.
I look at this is what she sent. I mean, this is perfect. So the roles are outlined, and I almost would change this to say, here are some of the tasks. Because like something, be available to, property visits, that would be a huge resource. Somebody's coming from out of town, you can say, well, hey, can you go over there and meet them and show them around?
Right.
And then I think, there was a checklist of things that he basically saying, these are the kind of things you're looking out for.
Yep.
Like I said, there's, something's
Yeah.
wrong.
Yep, I think so.
I mean, this may even be more formal than I don't know how much Ann did with the trail stewards versus she just kind of talked to people individually.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, it would be nice as well if we can get people who actually live close to the cemetery that they're going to be taken care of,
Right.
But we'll see.
Well, like you had said earlier, I think there are some of them that are on private property and the private property owners are very interested in getting involved.
Right.
So those ones might solve themselves. I know, for example, I know Locust Hill has some people across the street that I bet would love to get their kids involved because it's right there.
Yep.
I know he did a bunch of work for us, picked a bunch of leaves.
All right. Well, does anybody have anything else? Okay, one's there. All right. We'll wait.
The annual report. I could ask her about that sign. Just make sure you might want to push the mute button on that mic because it's probably going to pick up everything since you're right there. If you push and hold that button so the light is off, it mutes. You got to keep holding it down. Or move the mic away from you. Otherwise, it's going to broadcast your voicemail for everybody to hear.
I'll do this when I get home.
Because they auto level, so it'll switch to the sound it hears.
Oh, that would be fun, wouldn't it?
So I got to talk to Lonnie. I think we got to get some more microphones in here, like overhead ones. I want to see. I'm hoping these just go up. You could just go right through these vents.
Yeah, I think
I
it's.
don't particularly want to drill any holes.
No, but I think it's difficult too. We should probably have some kind of microphones.
What you need is.
We'll have to get up and go over
No.
to it. Though,
Well,
don't they?
bless him. Kessler was going around with the microphone. What you really need is a professional at these meetings, because they don't know how to use a mic, and especially these big hearings. It's got to be come up, talk to the mic, because when they talk in the back, nobody hears them.
Right.
And it seems to be a struggle. Do you have the sign? Did it come in for Founders Park, by the way? Because if you want me to, I can do something with it, or if it needs to get in, if we're just going to put it on that same post.
Yeah. I'll go pick it up.
I might have some.
Great job on the lights.
Oh, thanks. I might have some white paint for that post if we want to repaint it. I am ordering another. If it's still with Karen, I'm ordering another sign from her, so I
Yeah,
could pick it up when I
it
get
is.
it. It'll probably be a week or two, but
You know what to do, though? Pick up the old sign if she hasn't tossed it. I know it's in horrible condition.
oh yeah, I can stick it in
But we'll
somewhere.
hang it in the garage at the museum.
But we should redo the library.
Oh, my God, yes. I
I'm
was
thinking
looking at that
you could
the
just
other
say it's
day.
call it the Union Chapel.
Yeah,
That
I did a little blurb. I'll send it to you.
okay.
When I did the website for the Horsley Witten
Call it
group.
the Union Chapel.
Union Chapel is what it originally was built as.
This one next door.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the name of that.
So at least from a historic perspective, what it is today is different, but historically it was the Union Chapel.
Yeah.
Whereas like this one, I think says something about Harrison Hall.
Yeah, and the blurb is really quick, so it'll say everything, just
Yeah.
like the one down here.
Oh, and Peg Tatro she called Leo. He thinks that garage was built the same time, so in the 30s, 40s.
Must have been, yeah.
So I was thinking it's all brick. So.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Are we?
So let's close the meeting.
All right,
Thanks,
I
Mark.
move to adjourn.
Seconded. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.